We're very excited to have Jessica Garday on with us this morning. Jessica is an occupational therapy student from the University of Augustine for Health Sciences, who's expected to graduate this April. Jessica has a history in golf. When she first started playing in Palm Desert, she's from the Coachella Valley. In her sophomore year, she played a season for the College of the Desert with the men's coach, introduced her to Gary Sabella, who's the women's coach of the College of the Desert team out there. She had the privilege for competing for one season and realized in her studies that many people love golf and understand the positive impact this sport has on individuals' physical and mental health. Jessica has decided to embark on this journey in grad school to help make accessible for people with different abilities through advocacy and education, inclusion, and diversity. I actually personally know Jessica. She was a fitness instructor at Monterey Country Club out in Palm Desert pre-pandemic for one of the seasons that I was out there. And Amber Lynn Dorsey, we're fortunate enough to have connected us. And so Jessica is going to present today on adaptive golf. And this is actually part of her dissertation for her doctorate and commensurate with her graduation this April. Good morning, Jessica. Thanks for being here this morning.
Hi, good morning, John. Thank you for that introduction. As John just mentioned, I am an occupational therapy student, and I'm very excited to be here. So for my capstone project, I've created this in-service for all of you on ways to enhance accessibility and promote inclusion. So let's get started. To talk about the impact here, I'm first going to show you this video that I found with Angel City Sports, and this is to help put into perspective the lived experiences and how golf has impacted people with disabilities, how it's impacted their life in a positive way. So let's get started.
Golf is very special because a lot of those guys that you see on TV playing on tour, I have the ability to hit a lot of those very same shots. I love golf because it doesn't limit me as an adaptive player. It allows me to play the sport just like any and everybody else.
We do adaptive and Paralympic sports programming for kids, adults, and veterans with physical disabilities. I never really imagined a career in sport, but about 18 years ago, my first son was born, and he came out missing his left knee, his left fibula, and he only had one finger on his left hand. When he was 8, he sort of fell in love with the Paralympic movement. I sort of fell in love with this movement even more, and kind of got this idea to start Angel City Sports.
And it started as honestly just one clinic. And then at the end of the clinic, people asked, when's the next one? And it's like, oh, okay, we'll plan one next month. I always leave these clinics feeling like I learned a lot more than I shared.
My name is Andreas Brandenberger, and I was born with a disability called Pocomilia. I was born with short arms, and I think I got the longest golf club in the game. I'm pretty certain on that. It's not a Guinness World Record yet. Grew up looking different than everybody around me. And so being active in sports was a way for me to blend in with my community and be a part of something that I've always wanted to be a part of.
You get somebody off the couch and get them out here. They see a sport they can play, they can do, and they start doing it. And then they start seeing all the things they can do. You get them off disability, heal relationships, marriages that are falling apart because of a new injury, and they don't know how to deal with it. Starting golf as a kid, man. Born and raised, my dad had clubs, and my brother and I were hitting them in the backyard till the neighbor complained. Played high school golf, was going to play college. 2 weeks after my 18th birthday, I fell in a water ski race, going pretty fast, and I pulled the nerves out of the spinal cord to run the arm. There I am, a one-arm player now. And I'm just very blessed. I just had that mindset of, okay, I'm still the same person. I just don't have an arm. Off I go.
Sometimes people ask me, if I had the chance to change it, would I? And I honestly wouldn't. The perspective that it's given me, the mindset, the perseverance, the great people that I've met through my injury. Oh, in 2017, I was shot in an attempted robbery in Jacksonville, Florida, a month after I graduated from college. In an attempt of me fleeing, they shot at me, and one of the bullets came through the car and hit me in the back, instantly paralyzed me. I ended up crashing. I was down, man. A good majority of my life, even now, I know to be on my feet. Once I got into golf, I realized quickly how cool the sport of golf was. I've been an athlete all my life. I played football, basketball, baseball, but nothing compares to golf.
For the disabled community, there's a lot of judgment around what they're capable of doing. When there's a sport like golf where our athletes could truly integrate and go golf with their friends, that makes me really happy.
This doesn't just change one life. This changes our entire community. It's pretty special what can happen when you show somebody they can still do life, and it might involve golf.
All right. So we can see that community is a big impact in that video, and how the sport of golf has transformed many people's lives and showing them what they're capable of doing despite their injury. So let's talk about the prevalence now. I pulled this data actually from the USAGA website, so you can find it on there as well. However, the US Census data is obviously updated since 2020. So currently there are 42.5 million people that live in the United States with a disability. And this pie chart that I've created below represents that 35% of people, which is about 15 million people, are interested in learning to play the game of golf that live with a disability. And then there's 22% of individuals, which is approximately over 9 million people, who used to play the game of golf, but once they acquired their injury, they felt for whatever reason that they can't play anymore. And then 10% of individuals, which is over 4 million people, are currently playing the game. So keep those numbers in mind, because we're going to talk about that later. All right, so in interviews that I've had with some of the golf administrators and the consumers or the athletes, I've identified common barriers among the two. One of them is a lack of awareness. And coming from the athlete's perspective, that would be a lack of awareness as to what facilities host adaptive athletes at their course. And then from the administrative perspective, a lack of awareness is really stemming anywhere from what is adaptive golf, or what kind of equipment is out there, who are the athletes that want to come and play. And then again, I just mentioned the lack of equipment. So coming from the athlete's perspective, they are lacking equipment because we all know it is expensive, and that same principle applies to the administrators as well. So throughout this presentation, I will be talking about ways that you can obtain funding to help promote some of this inclusion and enhance the accessibility. But one note to consider is a way to enhance or fight the barrier of a lack of awareness is 2 words. We have social media. So in that video, we saw a gentleman named David Colamater. He's actually the only PGA pro that I know out here in Southern California that works with adaptive athletes. And I asked him, how do you get people to come to your clinics? And he said social media, really, like it takes a snowball effect. So when you have one person coming to your clinic, it just creates more popularity on Instagram or TikTok, Twitter, or now X. So definitely use that guerrilla marketing to your advantage, because it's free and why not? And then another option to enhance awareness for the athletes is by putting something on your website. So I took this example from Georgia State Golf Association. And if you hover over the play tab, it gives you a drop-down menu that there are different options for golf. You can see adaptive golf is one of them. So again, that's a great way to make your facility even more accessible. And this is an example of accessibility in a non-physical way. So keep that in mind. Now, universal design is a set of 7 principles to help a designer or an individual create an environment that promotes inclusivity and accessibility for all individuals, whether they have a disability or not. And some principles that can be applied to a golf course would be equitable use, simple and intuitive use, and low physical effort. So equitable use could be applied in a sand trap, for example. As you can see, my friend here, he's taking an approach shot, and the back tire of his Verticat machine is in the sand. This promotes equitable use because it allows the seated golfer to take the same approach shot as somebody who's a standing player. And then we have simple and intuitive use. By implementing this principle would be putting signage up. And so, for example, you could put signs up at the tee boxes. And, many of us know that the lawnmowers can get access to the tee boxes, but maybe the average golfer doesn't know. So by displaying signs would help integrate that principle. And again, talking about tee boxes, we could implement low physical effort in this way. So for example, while lawnmowers are able to have access to the tee boxes, it might not be a direct shot. So a seated golfer might have to take maybe a lengthier route to get to their tee box. To help make it a low physical effort, you could implement this curb. I found it on Amazon for $30, and put it at that front tee box if there's a curb that acts as a barrier. So some of the USAGA recommendations are to provide at least one mobility assisted cart for a person to rent, as you would for a golf cart. Another recommendation is to have accessible entrances that are clearly marked and available for a person with a disability. Again, that is touching on that, that universal design principle of simple and intuitive use. You can display those signs along your golf course and then even at your clubhouse too. And then another recommendation is to have entrances to pathways that are at least 60 inches wide. And this allows somebody who's in a wheelchair, it gives them that turn radius they need if they decide to turn around or like, oh, I forgot something in my car, let me go back. And it also allows for to avoid awkward moments if there are two seated players and they're passing each other. I'm sure we can all relate to this when we're at the grocery store and we're trying to pass somebody in a tight aisle. We're like, oh, excuse me. Anyway, so that's to help avoid a situation like that. Some more recommendations are to offer adaptive golf clubs. And we can see in figure 2 here, this is actually the same gentleman that we saw in that video earlier. This is an example of an adaptive golf club because the gentleman is gripping it using his armpit because he doesn't have the same type of dexterity that most people would. And the same thing goes for figure 1. We have a built-up grip here. And this allows somebody to help sustain grip throughout their golf swing if they're lacking maybe grip strength. So I put a QR code up here. It says USAGA inclusion handout, and this is actually from Make Golf Your Thing. I recommend that you check it out. It's a very informative checklist, so to speak, on how to implement inclusion at your facility. And I'm also happy to email it to you if you'd like. You can go ahead and drop your email in the chat, and I can do that for you. So some more adaptive golf equipment. We have this wingless golf club. As you can see, there's like that little knob at the very tip of it. And so that actually retracts and then it shoots out kind of like a pinball machine, and it allows the ball to go a certain distance. And then we have the toss tee, and this is a beautiful implementation of physics because no matter which way you throw the tee, it's always going to stand up straight. So this is great for an individual who maybe lacks core strength and stability, so they're not really able to bend over. And then also the tee golf ball placer is a great alternative for somebody who is maybe lacking some core strength as well. Right. So now we have the solo rider, and the solo rider is a great alternative for seated golfers because the seat, as you can see, swivels out and the seat does come up in a more vertical position. So it allows the athlete to take more of a natural swing path. And then we also have the Verticat and Paramotion. These are similar devices. And I'll show you a little video here on how it works in case You haven't seen one before.
I've got controls of the little joystick that allows me to motor down the fairway. And then what I can do is I can lift this up so I can swing. And what you didn't see is I actually hit a pretty good drive with my 3-wood, about 150 meters. And now I'm going to go up and hit my second shot. Here I go. I've got controls.
Okay, so we get the idea with that. And what's interesting is about the solo rider, it has a PSI that is less than 5. So it doesn't really leave any footprint on the greens, in case that was a concern for any of you. And I actually just learned from Eric Hatch, the inventor or the creator of Solo Rider, that there's a study done and comparing the solo rider and an average golfer, and the average golfer has a pressure of 24 using their heel, whereas the tires on the solo rider is less than 5. So just to put in perspective for you all. In discussion with some of the administrators, I know that people have invested in this equipment in the past, but because there isn't always a high demand for it, it doesn't get used often. And so maintenance is a very important thing. As with all technology, you want to make sure that you do keep up on the maintenance so it does function properly. And some ways to achieve that would be driving it once a week. I mean, this is a picture of a golf cart, but I couldn't find a cute picture of the solo rider in clip art. But anyway, driving it once a week, have your cart barn boy go around and take a leisurely drive on whatever day you want him to. You want to check the tire pressure regularly, and then put mouse traps out as well, because the rodents will chew into the electrical. So yeah, keep that in mind.
That's a good point, Jessica, because I've worked for golf management companies that shared a single rider cart between several different properties, and because it doesn't get used that much and it gets left at one place longer than others, there would be quality and maintenance issues with those single rider carts. So I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely an issue that can be avoided with just regular maintenance. When you shuffle out the carts, I don't really know exactly how it works because I've never been in the cart barn as an employee, but I imagine that the carts get rotated. And so in that rotation, the solo rider or the verticant paramotion could also be shuffled through. So this is a video that I found on the financial impact of adaptive golf. This video was done by Todd Kierstead, and he is known to be an entertainer within the golf world, doing tons of trick shots. And Todd did the hard part. He crunched all the numbers. So I think let's just take it with the expert here, and we're going to watch just a small little clip of his video to demonstrate the financial impact that adaptive golf has within the industry.
There's 44,000 rounds of golf and a population of 1 million. Just add another number to that, we're looking at almost 440,000 rounds of golf that we're missing because people don't think they can play the game of golf, but they already love the game. They've already played before. Now getting into the 35%. Now these people are the ones that want to play. They're interested in learning. Population of 25,000, we are looking at almost 17,500 rounds of golf. Population of 100,000, we're looking at almost 70,000 rounds of golf. And a population of 1 million, you're looking at almost 700 rounds of golf. Mental situations.
Okay, so that really, I think it put in perspective for me the financial impact on how many rounds of golf that are potentially being missed by maybe not having the available equipment or accessibility at the facilities. So if you want to watch the whole video, this is a QR code, or you can just watch it on YouTube. I just Googled financial impact Todd Kierstead and it came up. So it's super easy to find. And again, it's a really informative video, so I do recommend that you go watch it in its entirety. Okay, so since we're on the topic of money, we're going to talk about grants and foundations. So I found these grants here. These are some grants that golf courses are eligible to apply for. So we have the PGA Hope Foundation, and affiliations get discounted rates with the VertiCap machine if you choose to invest in that piece of equipment. And again, with the Stand Up and Play Foundation, that's founded by Anthony Netto. By donating to this foundation, it would also provide you with an additional discount on the VertiCap machine, and you would be eligible for a 501c3 write-off because it's a nonprofit organization. So it's a good way to save money in something like that. Then we have the Outdoor Equity Grants Program, and then the Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnerships. Both of these grants are through california.gov under the Parks and Recreation facility or component. And this is especially advantageous for public golf courses. There's $50 million available, and you fall under that region of Parks and Rec. So definitely take advantage of the money. It's out there. It's waiting for people to apply to. And this would really help you implement some of the modifications and adaptations we've talked about so far. Then we have the Christopher Reeves Foundation. This is a grant to help nonprofit organizations invest in some of the equipment that will help individuals with physical disabilities live a more functional life. So I definitely recommend you check these out. And if you know somebody personally that has a disability, these are more grants and foundations that you could recommend to them. I think it's good knowledge for your own bank to have. And then we have the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab that has a plethora of grants on there for individuals. So if somebody comes into your golf shop and they're like, hey, like I'm really interested in this, but I can't afford it, now you know where you can refer them to. It's really good knowledge to have. So let's get in touch. Gianna Rojas, she's my lovely mentor. She's on here right now, actually. So thank you for the support, Gianna. She's the founder of Adaptive Golfers and the Adaptive Golf channel. Her contact is right here. So if you want to shoot her an email, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to her. She's a huge advocate for this industry and super, super informative and knowledgeable. And she's, after the same thing that I am and Eric Hatches, and we just all want to grow the game, right? We want to help grow the game and help promote inclusion and just transform people's lives through the game of golf. As I just mentioned, Eric Hatch, he is the owner of Solo Rider. And I spoke with him this morning, and he said that if you have any questions regarding the equipment that I talked about, feel free to shoot him an email. He'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And then we have De La Colomator, PGA Pro, that we saw in the video earlier. I've met with him a few times already, and I've had the privilege of playing a round of golf with him, which was a lot of fun. He's got a huge heart for this part of the golf. He loves his adaptive athletes, and he also said to me that if any of you have questions for him regarding how to implement an adaptive golf clinic, then you can do so. And one thing, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but with the Christopher Reeves Foundation, at your golf course, while it might be a for-profit organization, if you have an adaptive golf clinic within your golf club, you could technically make that a nonprofit organization, and then you would be eligible for the Christopher Reeves grant. And then if you want to learn more, we have Adaptive Golfers with Gianna. She's currently developing the Adaptive Golfers Player Development Tool, which is going to be an online module that goes in deeper regarding adaptive golf. And I know that it's going to be offering 12 CUs for the LPGA. And then there's discussion in offering 12 PDRs for the PGA. This is not my lingo, so I hope I got it right.
Yeah, that's correct. And I did, Gianna Rojas is on the call this morning. I did move her over to being a panelist. So if she wanted to add some insight and comment, we'd love to hear from you, Gianna. If you, like I said, I hate to put you on the spot and this is off script, but feel free to chime in we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well,
please.
wonderful. Jessica, first of all, I commend you. You know, we've already been on this morning, so my camera now won't go on. So
That's
apologize for the no face here, but some of you I've probably already met throughout our journey through adaptive golf. And I think I'd like to first commend Jessica for coming up with a way to communicate this information in a very palatable way, I guess is a good way to put it. You know, I appreciate all the work that you've put into this. I know we've been talking on a monthly basis and sometimes more than that, but you know, this is important information, not just for this particular project. I have told her from the get-go that how important this information is to the industry as a whole, but not just the golf industry. She's coming at it from the physical and rehabilitative industry, which is actually where the best medicine and the best benefit is. So I urge everyone to try to find out as much as they can about adaptive golf, the topic. And as you can see on your screen, there are various different resources. We all overlap each other. We all communicate with each other. We're all trying to help bring the same message that we can try to invite and welcome either your golfers back after an injury or an illness, or invite new golfers to go from using golf as a therapeutic activity as it to become a lifestyle. So again, if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Jessica, wonderful job. And thank you all for having us on today.
Thank you, Gianna. And likewise, I'd like to piggyback on that and commend Jessica for the effort she's put in. Clearly, her passion for the inclusivity is noticeable. And Jessica, a question for you. You know, golf is, I mean, you've played golf, you are a golfer, you've played competitive golf, but you are also a physical therapist, you are also an athlete in a lot of different rights. Has your approach to promoting adaptive golf and accessibility, has that transcended into other sports for you from a physical therapy standpoint?
So it, okay, I guess how I can answer this is, I'm currently in my capstone experience. So I'm working at Casa Colina right now, and they have an adaptive sports program. So it's been really and powerful to work with the individuals and participate in wheelchair basketball, wheelchair rugby. And I really see a common theme among all the sports in general, that it, you know, brings community, it brings confidence, and it gives something for people to live for. So they get up, they're excited to go out and play and participate, meet with their, you know, their team or whatever. And so I do think that it's just a vehicle to help reintegrate people back into the community. And so from like an occupational therapy standpoint, I think it's really advantageous to use sport as a way to inspire and empower people to help live their most functional and independent life as possible. And given that golf is already such a big community, I believe that it is a life-changing journey for people. Yeah.
And there is a big overlap. These three organizations, and also in our own organization in the PGA, we have the PGA Hope program, which is helping our patriots everywhere, which incorporates adaptive golf training for personalized instruction for veterans that have injuries, both physical and psychological, in terms of getting them out and getting them enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the sport and the camaraderie of other like-minded people that have the passion for the game. And it's been a game changer. And I think, you know, many PGA members would comment and say that, you know, over the last 3 years, there's nothing more important that we are doing as an organization than growing the PGA Hope program and helping our veterans and our patriots everywhere.
Yeah, that's incredible. And on that note, I'd like to say, if there are any veterans watching this right now, I just want to thank you for your service. And, you know, I really hope that we can be there for you within the golf world to help make it an enjoyable experience for everyone. So how this can benefit, how this can, oh wait, here we go. Sorry about that, a little technical difficulty there.
Okay.
Okay. So, some places that you can actually recommend some adaptive athletes to go to if you're not quite ready to host them at your facility yet. We have Torrey Pines Golf Course. I've spoken with the president there already, and she's invested in two of the equipment, two Verticat machines, I believe, to help implement a more accessible course for adaptive athletes. There's also the Westchester Golf Course, where David Colomater is the PGA Pro at. And I recommend all of you to go check out his adaptive golf clinic as well. I think it's a really beautiful thing that's happening, and you might find a lot of inspiration in that as well. And then Golf Envy, I spoke with the owner of this, and if you're not aware, Golf Envy is a indoor golf experience that's kind of like if you go to like a PGA Superstore, you see those hitting bays. It's kind of like that, but the level of the floor changes, so it allows you to take a shot in different positions to help best simulate an outdoor experience. It's really, really cool. And the owner at Golf Envy has said that he wants to invite adaptive athletes to his business. And so he will be investing in some of the equipment to help accommodate seated players, as well as players who maybe are experiencing limb loss or other conditions. So community partnerships, if you're wondering, who can I contact to get people to come to my facility and play if I do make this investment? There's the Amputee Coalition, and there are several chapters all around the United States, especially in Southern California. So I'm sure if you emailed them and said, hey, like I'm thinking about having an adaptive golf clinic, they're going to send some people your way. Same with the Mission Viejo Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. You can reach out to them, and then they also have meetings the first Tuesday every month on Zoom between 10 to 11. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go ahead and check out their task force. And then we have the ARC. This is all over the United States. They have some in the Coachella Valley, Los Angeles, Orange County. And again, if you want to reach out to them to try and get people to try out adaptive golf at your facility, I know that they will get you in contact with some individuals for that. So how this benefits you, there has been discussion about having adaptive golf as an event by 2032 in Brisbane. And so while you might not be able to host a tournament in Brisbane, it does give you the potential to host tournaments with adaptive golf on the rise. It brings positive attention to your club. It invites more players to your club, and therefore you will have an increased return on investment. So these are my references, and thank you all for your attention. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Yes, indeed. Jessica, thank you very much on behalf of the Southern California PGA. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your passion and your expertise with adaptive golf with us. Like I said, there's a lot of overlaps with our organization in PGA Hope, adaptive golf at local places, even especially David Mader at Westchester. Any questions from the PGA members on this morning's webcast? I know we've got a variety of teachers on here. Raina Kearns, Scott Miller, you're on here. Is anybody doing anything with adaptive golf at their clubs that they would like to share at this time? Show your hand, raise your hand, and then I'll enable you to speak. Probably be the best way to do it. Perhaps maybe even Brian Urban at Mountain Meadows. I know American Golf did have a single rider cart that they shared between, I think, about eight or nine different properties. Is that still in use? Going once, going twice. Okay, very good. Well, Jessica and Gianna, on behalf of the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA, thank you so much for coming on this morning and presenting on the Catalyst webinar. For all the PGA members that are on this morning's webcast, you will receive one PDR for attending Jessica's webcast. And thank you very much for supporting the Catalyst webinar. Miss Garday, great connecting with you, and let's keep in touch and good luck going forward. And
Thank you.
congratulations on graduating in April.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited.
Take care,
All right,
everybody.
thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Gianna.
Thank you so much. Stump bump.